1. God's timing is never late. It's always preparing you for something greater. 2. When life feels heavy, place your worries in God's hands. He can carry what you can't. 2. Every breath is proof that God isn't finished with your story yet. 4. You may not see the way, but God is already making one. Fire. Faith means trusting God even when you don't understand His plan. 6. The storms you face are not meant to break you, but to build your faith stronger. 7. God turns broken pieces into beautiful purposes. 8. When God is all you have, you realize He's all you need. 9. Don't be afraid of tomorrow. God is already there. 10. You are never too far gone for God's grace to reach you. 11. Let your faith be bigger than your fear. 12. God doesn't remove the pain. He gives peace in the middle of it. 13. The delay you hate might be the protection you need. 14. God's love is the light that never fades, even in your darkest night. 15. When you trust God's heart, you'll stop questioning His ways. 16. You are not alone. Heaven stands beside you in every battle. 17. God's plan is worth the wait, even when patience feels impossible. 18. Every no from God is making space for a greater yes. 19. Peace doesn't come from understanding life. It comes from trusting God. 20. God heals not only the body but the heart that quietly aches. 21. You can't fix everything, but you can trust the one who can. 22. Sometimes God answers your prayers by changing your heart first. 23. Every test of faith leads to a deeper testimony of grace. 24. God never wastes a waiting season. 25. His silence doesn't mean absence, it means preparation. 26. God's promises don't expire with time. They bloom in His perfect season. 27. The cross wasn't the end. It was the beginning of eternal hope. 28. You don't need to see the whole path. Just follow God's light for the next step. 29. When you pray, you're not talking to the air. You're speaking to the Creator of everything. 30. God's love is the only constant in a world full of change. 31. Sometimes God closes doors to protect your peace. 32. Trust the process. God is still writing your story. 33. The greatest miracle is not a changed situation, but a changed heart. 34. When you carry burdens, remember Jesus carried the cross. 35. Faith doesn't erase fear. It reminds you who's in control. 36. God sees your tears even when no one else does. 37. You may lose people, but you'll never lose God's presence. 38. His grace is greater than your greatest mistake. 39. God's strength begins where your strength ends. 40. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. 41. Don't rush what God is building. Solid foundations take time. 42. God's hands can rebuild what life has broken. 43. Faith grows strongest in the silence of surrender. 44. God often hides blessings behind battles. 45. When you forgive, you make room for God's peace to move in. 46. Nothing you face today is stronger than the God who fights for you. 47. The same God who made the stars knows your name. 48. God's purpose is not defeated by your mistakes. 49. Sometimes you must be emptied before God can fill you. 50. When it's out of your hands, it's in God's. 51. The waiting room of life is where faith learns to breathe. 52. You are loved more than you can ever imagine. 53. God turns endings into beginnings you didn't expect. 54. Faith doesn't always fix things. It teaches you to walk through them. 55. God's mercy renews every morning, so does your hope. 56. Don't fear what's ahead. God already made a way through it. 57. God's plan will always be worth the patience it demands. 58. His grace reaches deeper than your guilt. 59. Every valley you walk through reveals a higher mountain of faith. 60. You are never unseen by God. Even your quiet prayers reach Him. 61. The peace of God doesn't depend on circumstances, but on closeness to Him. 62. What you think is a delay might be divine direction. 63. God's promises shine brightest in the darkest nights. 64. You can start again. God's mercy never runs dry. 65. When you feel weak, remember you are held by everlasting arms. 66. Trust God's not yet. It's often His I'm preparing you. 67. No sin is too great for God's forgiveness. 68. The same voice that calmed the sea can calm your soul. 69. Sometimes God removes what you wanted to reveal what you needed. 70. His love never gives up on you, even when you give up on yourself. 71. When your heart is heavy, let God carry it. 72. Faith begins where sight ends. 73. Don't look at how far you've fallen. Look at how far His grace will lift you. 74. God's plan may not be easy, but it's always right. 75. Even when you don't feel Him, God is closer than your breath. 76. God writes in ways your heart will one day understand. 77. Every disappointment hides a divine appointment. 78. God's love is not earned, it's freely given. 79. You are never too broken for God to restore. 80. Where there is faith, fear loses its power. 1. When you trust God with the unknown, peace replaces panic. 82. God uses your pain to prepare your purpose. 83. His grace covers what your strength cannot. 84. When life hurts, kneel. Prayer is where healing begins. 85. God sees potential in you that the world overlooks. 86. Your faith may be small, but the God behind it is mighty. 87. Every answered prayer began with a whisper of faith. 88. God's plan will unfold exactly when your heart is ready. 89. The pain you feel today will be the strength you share tomorrow. 90. Trust God's timing. He's never in a hurry but never late. 91. When you surrender, you don't lose control. You give it to the one who never fails. 92. God's love rebuilds what the world tried to destroy. 93. You are chosen, loved, and protected by grace. 94. Sometimes peace is not found in answers but in trust. 5. God turns the brokenhearted into the brave-hearted. 96. Faith is believing God will do it, even when you don't see it. 97. The cross proves how deeply you are loved. 98. When everything falls apart, God holds it all together. 99. You are not fighting alone. Heaven is fighting with you. 100. What God starts, He always finishes, perfectly and on time.